I checked the carrot and it looks like there is a red-yellow storm wave headed this way. I think I have deer around here huffing at me from the bushes. It has been just a lovely morning back here. I finished my video early, so I've been planning out the remainder of the trip here. At least the remainder of the Benton MacKaye. The biggest problem with creekside sites like this is always finding a place to dig a cat hole that doesn't make you a non-L&T asshole, because the creek is all through here. I just did some adventurous climbing to get up to someplace I felt good. Well, I wouldn't say good, considering I was hanging on wishing I had a rope, but, you know, I at least am not impacting the water supply, hopefully. Other than yet another badly trashed fire pit, this was a nice little site. There looks like there used to be a lower site right here, but some trees came down and looks like it'd be some major work to try and clear it off again. I was just getting going up the hill, and then I just happened to double check the water situation. I spent all the time this morning looking further ahead, not like right ahead, and I have a 12-mile dry carry, so I had to come back and fill up right next to camp, as much as I hate doing that. Usually I drink enough coffee, I'm good for, 8-10 miles or so-ish. Okay, trying this again. So it looks like I have about a 2,000-foot climb. It looks like it is the biggest, most sustained climb for the remainder of the trail. It doesn't look like it's that bad, but I keep bracing myself for things to get worse. I got warned by several northbounders, I keep getting the north-south confused out here, about there being a lot of blowdowns and things. And it sure looks like a trail crew has gotten here between like when I came through and when Carl came through. But I keep expecting to kind of outrun that and have to deal with at least some of it. I am on a few trail volunteer email lists, and I know at least some of them, the government shutdown has affected them because I can't, work with any of the Forest Service folks since they're all in furlough. I am currently 5.5 miles from the Georgia-Tennessee border, and that's kind of cool. Sadly, I am also 16.4 miles from where the Pinhoti runs into the Benton MacKaye. So after that point, I have technically seen the trail. It is another overlap section. Still gonna do it, walk into Springer, but I always enjoy these sections of not knowing what's around the corner. I will say, while the Flag Mountain terminus of the Pinhoti was pretty cool, I remember this one kind of being out in the middle of nowhere. It worked for me since my plan was just to jump straight on the Benton and walk that all the way to Springer, but I do kind of wonder where people are able to get picked up. It was also one of the rougher sections. Lots of stream crossings and things right before that junction. I think I remember camping not long after joining the Benton MacKaye at a pretty nice spot. So I'm vaguely gonna aim there, though we'll see. I am getting a pretty late start this morning between the video edits and planning out the rest of this leg of the adventure. So at least at the moment, considering where everything is, my plan is 2 more nights out here, and then I will hitch into Blue Ridge early the following day, take kind of a Nero. The following day, get back on trail. Looks like I'll probably have 2 more nights-ish to get to Springer. I may camp a little before Springer, because then I'll only have a single night. I could potentially just walk the approach trail down and go to Amicalola rather than bother with hitching in someplace. That means I just have the 27th in a hotel room after having finished the Benton, and then the 28th I will be whisked over to the Foothill Trail and I will start that westbound. No resupplies or anything on that, at least at the moment. Plan is Jen is going to send me a full box. I just do the entire thing, a little bit of a heavy carry. And then once I finish that, I will be continuing over to the Barton Trail. So we're going to see if we can't figure out how to get me a box or a ride into town from the west side of the Foothill Trail. You can walk from one to the other, but it looked like it was going to be an 8-mile backtrack and then, connecting it. And I don't know, wasn't really feeling it when I was looking at it on the map. I don't mind backtracking a couple of miles. 8 miles, I mean, that is pretty much most of a day just going out and back. Plus, again, whatever the connecting road walk is. And then there was some river trail I could use to connect over. So better to just deal with everything at once, get a box, maybe have a shuttle driver or something drive that out to me, and then ferry me over from one to the other. That does leave me with a little over a week of fudge time, week and a half maybe, which is pretty much where I need to be. There's always the chance there's, a hurricane or something that hits this area that delays me for a couple of days. And I would prefer, if I'm going to start the Barton Trail, I would like to finish it. As of today, I am 30 days away from my drop dead fly out of the East Coast date. My plan is to basically get to Atlanta airport to fly out. And I'm kind of torn. I've enjoyed so much just kind of losing myself in this last section. There is a certain amount of just throwing yourself into it and subsuming yourself is kind of how I think about it. Hitting my hiker zen while I'm out here that leaves me far happier and healthier than I normally am around civilization. On the other hand, I do miss Jen. It has been a rough year. Things keep happening and going wrong while we've been separated. So the best part of heading back will, as always, be reuniting with her. And of course, once I am back, we are not sitting still very long. A day or two after that, we are going to fly out to Bonaire, which is a small island off the coast of Venezuela, owned by the Dutch, famous for scuba diving. We were there last Thanksgiving, of course, and just enjoyed ourselves so much. It is such a relatively close, relatively affordable, and just low-key diving destination where we can kind of go crazy and try out some new equipment and dive on our own schedule. We are both very much looking forward to going back. We will be in Bonaire for about a week. After that, I will be bouncing around Southern California a little bit. We are looking into some new areas as far as places we've been able to find Airbnb rentals. And then Christmas is that Palau diving trip. I still know very little about Palau other than it's supposed to be one of those like best diving destinations in the world sort of things. We planned it and started paying for it last year, so it was kind of already set in at least reasonable hard stone by the time everything started going wrong this year. And then January, when we get back, I of course roll into the Sierra Club Wilderness Travel course, where I'll be teaching from January until March. That'll keep us pretty busy. And then once the class ends, I will probably be heading out to New Mexico. I did a lot of planning around that Brett Tucker trail on the Mogollon Rim. And assuming the timing works, assuming fires or other things don't make it not happen, the plan will be that. Transition from there to my parents in Colorado when Jen gets off of work, meet her in Seattle, do the drive up, and do the 2,000-mile paddling the Yukon plan that got derailed this year. Followed by back to Colorado, figure out how to get back to Moab, and try and polish off that whole American Discovery Trail thing. The challenge there is going to be similar to when I returned to the Continental Divide Trail in Colorado after the Mississippi. There is hiking shape, which I am generally in now. You know, I can manage reasonable days. I might grumble and drag here and there, but in general, I'm doing pretty good. And then there is, I have been sitting in a canoe paddling for the last 2.5 months shape. So it is probably going to be a little difficult leaving Moab. There are some long carries, there are some water challenges, and I pretty much have to make it across the Sierra by Halloween if I'm going to make San Francisco. After that, things are a little more up in the air. We don't know what we'll be doing at the end of next year, other than it's probably going to have to be something a little more affordable. Maybe go back and paddle the Swanee River again down in Florida or something like that. And then hopefully the next year we are hoping to do our Europe hiking plan. I was going to do the Wales Coastal Path in spring. Jen and I were going to do the Hexatrek during her summer. And then I was going to do something after that. Not sure where. There are some things up in Canada I'd like to do. I also really liked hiking through Canada. Slightly less angry people, at least when I was not dealing with Quebec. And then hopefully the following year, North Country Trail. Unless we find something even cooler to do, which, you know, always a danger. The North Country Trail is going to be one of those challenging trails, not necessarily due to a lot of verticality or anything, but just because of the season, considering how far north it is and how long it is. I think it's 4,000 miles. When I looked into what I was going to do when I finished my Triple Crown, it basically came down to North Country or American Discovery Trail. And the American Discovery Trail won out because I just kind of like the idea of crossing the entire United States on foot. You know, after having gone north-south a couple of times on foot and in a canoe going east-west, seemed like it was fun. And I kind of figured the ADT might be a bigger challenge. I mean, the ADT is longer, but lots of road walks and flat sections. But you do have the whole West Coast mountain range challenge as far as the season. I kind of figure that while I get older every year and it's hard to recover and stuff like that, I also have generally gotten better at hiking. So I might be more frustrated at my failings, but I have been handling the challenges better than I did, say, on the Eastern Continental Trail. At least when I take a step back and start looking at numbers and things like that. Each year I've been out here, when I hit that kind of middle part of the adventure where I'm not completely exhausted, I have a good amount of energy, and I have my trail legs, and I'm just cooking along. You know, Kansas, for example, Wyoming, Colorado on the CDT. I do kind of wonder, is this going to be the last year before I kind of noticeably degrade? Yeah, I'm in my mid-40s. I turned 45 in February. I know people that hike plenty older. I also know plenty of folks that hike who are older who have to take it noticeably easier than what I'm doing. I remember running into some guy in Oregon who was still out hiking, but he kept having to lighten his gear more and more because his body just couldn't handle carrying the weight. And you just never know how medical issues are going to affect you. I was despairing at my ability to be able to exert for a good chunk of this past summer when I was on that medication. And I've had enough friends go through major medical things that sometimes it just changes your reality, and you've got to accept what is and figure out a way forward. And I've always had plans. I mean, if my knee or something got a lot worse, there is the long distance paddling. If I couldn't carry things, I don't know if we could afford this anymore, but Sierra Club at least used to have a mule packing section. So at least you can still get into the deep Sierra and spend some time. So there are options, which is good, because going back to our previous existence and just sitting around and working to make money and then spending all the money trying to not be miserable is not a good path forward for me. I was telling Jen the other day that with everything that's gone on this year, it does kind of feel like a capstone to an era, at least. Because when we moved out of the apartment I was renting in 2019 to set up to do the Pacific Crest Trail and everything, we kept some furniture. We got rid of almost everything, but had like a couch and a couple of like minimal nicer pieces I had. And over the last couple of years, we've gotten rid of more and more. And then this last summer, as I was recovering and we were moving out of that rental we were in for a long time when I was sick, finally ripped the Band-Aid off and just chopped through everything. And it didn't matter what the reason was, got rid of a lot of vestiges. Don't mind me, haven't had enough coffee. Vestiges of my old IT existence, combined with having to get rid of the Jeep at the last minute. And now it looks like Jen's little green car is having to go away also. So we'll see what else happens for the remainder of this year. But we have kind of doubled down and have every plan to continue going in this direction and not look backwards. It's a good thing I'm not a cynic, because otherwise I might be tempted to point out something like how many times this year I've thought, okay, well, we got hit pretty hard, but now we're moving forward, only to have something else happen. So if you're finding this phone and video on my body after I was hit by a meteor strike, so this is actually something I was looking forward to waiting for. I don't know if these are just dead trees or well, looks like it might have been a burn area, but I was kind of waiting for the foliage to fall off so I would have more views, and particularly sunsets. But yeah, this is a burn area. I recognize some of these plants as post-burn growth. So it's been looking kind of dark out here. I just happened to get enough reception, and I checked the carrot, and it looks like there is a red-yellow storm wave headed this way that's probably going to hit in about 40 minutes. Good news is, while I can't get under anything or out of it, it doesn't look like it's going to last too long. It's just one of those kind of bands that's going to go straight over me. I keep forgetting I don't have my usual pack. I've tested my usual Ultra Catalyst enough where I trust it on anything but like really extended rainstorms. If it's going to pour all day, I'll still bag it, you know. Trust but verify. This one, I don't know what the material is. It has openings for hydration bladders, which I don't like. It's a way for water to get in. So I basically had to pull over as it's getting darker and darker and repack everything in a liner bag. So assuming that the thing I saw on the radar up top is going to hit me, it's going to be right about when I cross over into Georgia. So this appears to be the Georgia-Tennessee border. No sign or anything other than a welcome to the Big Frog Wilderness. And as expected, it keeps getting darker and darker. And it looks like here we go. No thunder yet, but I did start getting lightning warnings on Carrot. Oh man. I was kind of hoping I might get some sunshine to dry things off, but oh well. I have actually been way luckier out here this entire trip than I thought I was going to be. When I made the call to come back out to the East Coast, I was picturing, you know, as much rain as I saw in 21 while I was on the AT. I really didn't realize that this was going to be happening today. I didn't have internet at camp, so it wasn't until I got up on Big Frog or whatever that was that I saw, oh, hey, rain incoming. It did seem like it was noticeably warmer last night. I was able to zip my sleeping bag up, but I was kind of sweaty and I had to open things up this morning. Per the weather forecast, it is warmer today, low in mid 40s, and then it starts getting colder again after that. That was one of the more precarious crossings I've done this season, just because it's so slick and those handles aren't the best. So it is 5 o'clock. Pretty much everything is some combination of damp, cold, or sodden. I have about 4.7 miles to a campsite I remember from the far side of the Pinhoti Junction. It also has water. I think that is going to be my plan here. Should get me there around the right time. And that should set me up pretty well for hitching to Blue Ridge early day after tomorrow. That way I can have kind of a slower evening versus, you know, arrive late, rush to do everything, and then leave in the morning. I have not seen any sign of anybody all day. I mean, the trail's gotten a lot quieter the last couple of days. I can see comments from one person who is a day or two ahead with the schedule I'm setting now, I doubt I'll catch up to him. But yeah, other than that, nobody coming the opposite direction. Nice folks. They were just finishing up a horse ride. It is always kind of fun to cross my wake, so to speak. I did the Pinhoti as part of the whole Key West to Canada thing, and at this point I was very much excited for getting to the AT, slash kind of dreading the crowds I'd heard so much about. After the whole Alabama road walk challenges, not to mention Florida, getting to the Pinhoti was where things got kind of easy for a good while. You know, there's still challenges, but Pinhoti, BMT, AT, I was on trail, I was secure when I was camping. I had access to a lot more resources than I had previously. Things eventually got interesting again up in Canada, but I mean, come on, that was Canada. It was a whole lot less stressful walking roads up there versus Alabama. I don't think I saw a single pit bull up in Canada, for example. So for the remaining miles from here to Springer, I have already seen them. This was the connector I used. About the only thing I remember is one little section on road that ended up going by this particular store where I think I resupplied. Other than that, it all kind of runs together in this section. I remember the last bit right before Springer Mountain, actually. So it is 6:39 right now. I had a late start and I dilly-dallied a bit when I had reception, talking to Jen and trying to arrange a couple of things. So assuming there's nobody at the camp up ahead, which I think I stayed at however many years ago that was, I think I'm gonna sit up there for the night. My headlamp is charged, but so I'm okay with getting into the tent right around dark tonight. Whoa! And this is not the site that I was thinking of, but it'll work, mostly. I'm always a little bit worried about dead trees out here, but only one that seems like a potential problem is that one. So this is the marked campsite. I was wandering around looking because I thought I had seen another option a little while back. And I could have made that work, but it was a little more slanted, and this is pretty well established. Really looks like trail crews have come through here and done a good amount of work just since Carl and a few others I ran into had been here. Okay, I think I got something that'll work here. As often has been the case here, the site's a little bit marginal. Solid day, and I am only 20 miles from the road access to get into Blue Ridge, so I could get there tomorrow, but my plan is to just do kind of a similar day tomorrow, do 18 miles or so, set up camp, and then go in the following day so I can enjoy a town day. And hopefully Blue Ridge has Mexican food. I don't even need fancy Mexican food, just comfort Mexican food. Anyway, home sweet home for the night.